Dan Illman, Matt Bernier are taking a look back at last Saturday's grade $300,000 San Francisco Mile at Golden Gate Fields. They break from the gate, and you're going to see Juan Hernandez give the number 6 Alert Bay the 3-5 favorite. Just a real heady ride. Not a lot of speed in this race, especially after the scratch of Pat Tentar. That allows the horse on the lead, Many Roses, to set a rather measured pace.
Yeah, and really there's no excuse for Many Roses. He gets out there, and this is a complete 180 from what we saw most recently. Alert Bay, I think really Hernandez just wins this entire thing having this horse as close to the pace as he is.
Many Roses was projected as the speed. Alert Bay is right on top of him in second. Gigi Ryder gets a really nice trip, saving ground in third. But the three horses that are going to end up going 1, 2, 3, they had great trips, and you really couldn't say the trip compromised the horses behind them.
No, you wonder if it's just more of a class sort of question, because it seems like the horse with the best trip was the best horse overall, and the minute that happens, everybody else chasing from behind is way up against it.
Alert Bay ratchets it up the pressure. She turns into the stretch with the lead. He's basically ridden out. He's shown the whip a few times by Juan Hernandez, but really no stress. Gigi Ryder, ground-saving trip, cut second, and Many Roses, who last time out was cooked on a hot pace, was able to really set his own fractions, and it didn't work out for him. This is probably where he is, 2 lengths behind Alert Bay.
Yeah, and that was the concern for me going into it. I liked Many Roses coming into this spot, thinking he was going to be lone speed, but really the question was, is he as good as these horses? And when you have a horse like Alert Bay, who is tactical, who can run on anything, boy, I mean, when you guys really kind of start your run at more or less the same point, you have no chance.
2-time winner now of the San Francisco Mile, and as you see, Alert Bay, a very enviable record. 14 wins, 7 seconds from 31 lifetime starts, over $1 million in earnings. And as Matt says, he runs on any surface. The long-term goal, Blaine Wright told our Chuck Dibdahl after the race, was the Long Acres Mile at Emerald Downs. That's a very rich and prestigious race on the West Coast, and Alert Bay would fit in that spot.
Certainly would. You would imagine Striker PhD would end up in a spot like that as well. He loves it up there at Emerald. I just think Alert Bay, you can do so many things with, as long as he stays sharp. You can run on synthetic, you can run on turf, you can run on dirt. He's never going to be mistaken for a superstar, but he is the kind of horse that doesn't get the credit I don't think he deserves, because all he does is go out and run, and he runs nice races.
Gigi Ryder and Many Roses in that photo for second. Gigi Ryder figures to find good spots, whether it's synthetic or on dirt, during the fair season in Northern California. I wonder if he's getting a little bit long in the tooth at age 6. Good trip, though, he still ran.
That's my only concern. I thought of that going into it, and I kind of feel the same way watching the replay, that he just doesn't have the same kick that he used to, because if he did, I think he would have gotten a little bit closer than a length and a quarter. He's still a nice horse. He can still run. I just wonder if he's gone from 92 miles an hour on the fastball to 88.
I wonder if Many Roses, who's relatively lightly raced compared to the Gigi Ryders and Alert Bays and Striker PhDs of the world, I wonder if his speed will play better over the summer on dirt in the fair season out there, when he's able to sort of let his feet rattle a little bit.
I wonder, too, if he's a little bit better on synthetic than he is on the turf as well. We've seen, even on this card, in the next race after this, race number 8, he had a horse that just went out there and loved life on the front end, and it was 1-5 in that spot, but opened up for fun. I wonder if you kind of let a horse like Many Roses out a few notches and just let him run, give him his head, maybe he can be a little bit more dangerous. But I agree, get him to the dirt too.
Now, you mentioned Striker PhD. Listen, he was 34-1 in this race. He really is not a turf horse, and you get the feeling whenever he comes down to Northern California over the winter, it's just, let's keep the old boy in shape before we ship him eventually back up to Emerald Downs, 4 races like the Long Acres Mile. My personal thought is, while he may not be the Striker PhD or 2 or 3 years ago, I think it would be very foolish to write him off in a race like the Long Acres Mile. Now it's sort of a dirtied up price over a track that we know he likes.
100%. I mean, and like you say, it's very similar to what we see at Gulfstream with the horses from Canada. More often than not, they're coming down just to kind of stay fit or get them ready to go for going back up north to Woodbine. I feel the same way about this horse. Okay, he's clearly not a turf horse. He's not really a synthetic horse. He really loves it up at Emerald, and if you write him off after these races, you're making a very, very foolish mistake.
I'm interested in your thoughts on Camino del Paraiso, who finished last of 6 in this race. Can you simply say, A, this was a very aggressive spot for his first start as a 4-year-old. We had not seen him since Del Mar back in November. Again, aggressive placement. Or B, can you say, yes, it was an aggressive placement, he's got to run.
Got to do something, and he was a little bit slow out of the gate too, which isn't really his MO. I don't know what that was all about, but he was in a pretty decent spot, all things considered, as well, and he just never picked his feet up. I'm leaning more toward the latter, where we're saying, you know what, you got to do some sort of running. I suppose if you want to be kind, you can give him the benefit of the doubt. The problem now becomes, where do you run him? Because I don't think he really fits in Southern California off of this anyway, and I don't know if you're going to try him on dirt.
Alert Bay, though, boasts a really potent combination of speed and consistency, a little bit of stamina and determination, and that really fits in these Grade 3 races in Northern California, maybe at Emerald Downs, and occasionally he'll ship down to Southern California in those Calbred races. He's a real cool horse, and he received a 101 Beyer speed figure for winning the Grade 3 San Francisco Mile. The long-term goal is the Long Acres Mile at Emerald Downs.